the rise of Nazism in the 1930s in concentration camps, and the fact that would Donald Trump become Hitler 1942? And I was like, he could. He's not there yet, but he could. So we're seeing it. I mean, they now have a budget to create concentration camps all over the country. I think it was Christine Ohm. Somebody was saying that all the governors of red states need to get together because they have special funding available for every state to have a intern center. I mean, there's nothing. How else can you say this other than concentration camps? And particularly the way they're doing it. I mean, hey, they see what they're doing down in Florida. That is a concentration camp. As a matter of fact, I don't remember concentration camps being places that were flooded with one toilet for like 50 people. I don't remember that. And this could be potentially technically worse. It's astounding. It's shocking. It's outrageous. I think the thing that's been I've been most worried about the past couple of weeks is this idea that the big ugly bill has in it this huge amount of money designated for ICE. The ICE budget goes from $8 billion to $48 billion. And they are going to be hiring tens of thousands of new, I don't know what you call them, agents, or they're Gestapo, they're secret police. But to me, that's the really horrible telling thing, because there will then be an infrastructure for a politically based MAGA secret police that is completely unaccountable and motivated to break the law. And it's how do you stop that? How do we they're going to be using it to go not only against undocumented, whether they're violent criminals or not. And the violent criminal thing is such a huge, that's the original lie. There are very few violent undocumented. The vast majority, 98%, are all law-abiding. Not only law-abiding, they don't want to have any attention drawn to them. Why would they do these their assumption that they are breaking the law by voting illegally or by doing violent crime is so logically absurd. Why would anybody who's in the country undocumented? What would the benefit for them to be to illegally vote, which they can't do anyway? They can't illegally vote. All the votes are tied to specific numbers, which are tied to a specific registered voter. So if an unregistered voter takes it, it would be tagged immediately, and it doesn't happen. It's a lie. So that's the original lie. The original lie is the rapists and the murderers and the pedophiles that Mexico sent over to America. That was the original lie by the original liar, and we can't forget that. It's so full of shit. Anyway, all right. Thank you for letting me vent. All right, let's go to David. It's your turn to vent.
Well, hey, Ben, before we go to David, if you...
Hold on, Ken. Let's go to David, and I'll come right back to Ken.
Ken.
All right, go ahead.
I was going to one little correction on something, and then go David, and then you can go back to me. But the thing that Lou said about DOJ, you shouldn't conflate things. This DOJ is not going to investigate themselves. So the stuff that you're talking about with the DOJ doesn't involve any kind of things with ICE detention facilities. So this is like DOJ stuff that actually was done under the Biden administration, examining prisons in different states. They have investigated investigation in California. So they're investigating prison conditions in state prisons, which is not unusual. I mean, we've had histories of abuses in state prisons. I mean, going back decades. I mean,
oh yeah, no, Ken, I didn't say it was ICE facilities. It was state prisons. Yeah, no, it wasn't ICE. It was state prisons. However, real quick, though, I will say that said, that the Alcatraz, there were allegations that were investigated there about, I think, what Ben alluded to, 112 overflooding, potential septic problems, cockroaches, all that. And of course, it was, they did an internal investigation and they denied all allegations. But yeah. Yeah. Okay, did you want to go ahead, David, or you want to pass to Ken?
I'll just say that statistically, it's been proven there's definitely evidence that immigrants commit less crime, less violent crime. We all know why, because they don't have as long a rope in the legal system, and so it's a pure lie, a concoction. I think the simplest way to say it is Trump calls it an invasion. That's what people, when they move from an economic circumstances, it's called immigration for a reason. The fact that since Reagan we haven't dealt with this problem is more of a festering wound that politicians in America hasn't dealt with about an ongoing known issue. Yet the politicians don't have the resolve. In fact, they had a bill to do it. I believe that Trump wanted the bill killed so that he could get reelected because he runs on the hate he's able to generate by lying, by scapegoating, by calling it an invasion. And that's sadly not called out every time he uses that rhetoric.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Anyway, let's go to Andrew and then Denise and then to Dr. Francine. Andrew, any thoughts?
I have.
You have a couple. All right, go for it.
Actually, I really one that kind of just hit me this morning, and I did send it to a bunch of people here. I think it was six congresspeople and or senators sent a letter to what do you call it when you're sending a diplomat to another country, like your wife is.
Oh, that did.
No. Well, yeah, but who's the person? My brain's not.
Sent it? We'll figure it out.
Ambassador to the United States from Canada, they sent a letter basically complaining about the air quality in their states and that it's affecting their people, which it obviously is. And it's unfortunate. But I guess they're really wanting us here in Canada to really get our house in shape, not realizing that they signed on to a bill that eviscerated the Green Act, took away and incentivized the fossil fuel industry, which is over the next 7 years, according to some studies, is going to increase the amount of carbon in the atmosphere by 7 billion tons. So a bit of a hypocrisy there, and not understanding obviously what they are doing, or not caring what they're doing, and then wanting to point a finger at Canada.
Of course.
That doesn't help us want to be your 51st state, believe me. And I mean, how ridiculous. People don't understand how big our boreal forest is. We're talking about a vast area of land. Mass, and yeah, there are some incidents of arson, but not way up north. We're talking about places that there are barely any people. And those that are there are being evacuated. We're talking, it's just crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, so I saw that this morning and it just shook my head. And of course, over the last, I don't know, since 2015, I've been shaking my head so hard at the United States, it hurts. Just, clangs. But yeah, so that was the big thing that I saw this morning, which kind of just gave me a moment to
That's a little odd.
the old days, when the smoking section in the restaurant. And
Yeah,
you know, if you sat in the non-smoking section, I'm sorry, that's the same air. And this is the same deal. It's the same air. We can't hold the air back for you. Sorry, we'd love to, but you know, we just can't do it. The other thing I was thinking about, somebody was talking about it yesterday, and I can't remember if I heard it on the news or podcast or where, but they were talking about this Golden Dome idea that Donald Trump has proffered.
right.
And in the past, Canada has been, we provided you our airspace free. There's no strings attached. You can have our airspace to do whatever it is that we want to do together as a North American continent, as allies. And, you know, including cruise missile testing, et cetera. That was all done over Canadian airspace. And we didn't charge you nothing. But, you know, of course, you know, Donald is very transactional. So they probably want to, well, he already has insisted on certain things. But I think we'll charge for the air, smoky or not. So there you go.
There you go. All right, thanks for the update. And I do remember those smoking days. I didn't know I was running across, for some reason, YouTube is sending me videos of what it was like in commercial air travel in the 1940s and 50s. And I am old enough to remember when you could smoke on an airplane and there were smoking sections. Which, now you think back to it, it's like, how can you have a smoking section? It's like, you were all sitting together in a cigar tube. Yeah, the smoking section. That's cute. Anyway, we want to go to Denise and Dr. Francine and then Dr. James. Anybody else who wants to come up? We got, let's see, 6. We got room for 5 more at the table. Come on up. Denise.
Good morning. Good morning. I've been watching the Epstein thing. I've been watching the communication, like first the incredible outrage, and now the kind of unified backpedaling is really something to watch. I mean, you know, this is a Jedi mind trick of epic levels here, and it's just really interesting because it's like, what do you care about? What do you care about? If you can just be told to stand down, hey, we're gonna stop talking about this. I'm stunned because they were so upset about it,
Yeah.
and now, you know, every Republican just voted not to release the files that don't exist. Why are we going to release files that don't exist? If they don't exist, there's nothing to release, right? I mean, it's just really interesting because they were so upset, and to watch everybody just kind of fall in line and backpedal from there, really profound. It is really something to watch. It's actually terrifying, to be honest with you, because it really shows the influence and the lockstep kind of situation that we're dealing with. Makes it hard to kind of figure out how to communicate.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're pinpointing it right where it belongs. I've been very, and I always say I am the most skeptical person. I am not one who is prone towards conspiracy at all because I tend to think putting a group of human beings together and having them keep a secret, I think is pretty fucking hard to do. So I am very anti-conspiracy theory, except for this one. This one. Because I remember early on hearing the story about Bill Barr's father, who was we've talked about this before, who was the headmaster of the Dalton School in Manhattan, who had hired Epstein, even before he had a degree in college. And he had no degree in math, but he was hired as a math teacher without a degree at the age of like 20, 21, I went to a prep school, and every one of my teachers had at minimum a master's degree, and most of them from pretty prestigious schools. Nobody had a teacher that didn't have a degree, and so like this is all like part of the story. And there's other things related to his father and how he got fired and how that was related to Epstein getting fired and then Epstein getting hired for, I think it was Bear Stearns, by somebody whose kid, went to Dalton School. There's so much stuff about the origination story with Bill Barr, and then he magically shows up, how many years later, exactly at the time that Epstein is in prison, and he recuses himself. So he acknowledges his relationship, but it doesn't mean that he didn't order him killed. I mean, those are two separate things. And then there's the whole thing with Alex Acosta, who became the labor secretary, who's the prosecutor in charge of his bullshit prosecution. I mean, there are so many things about this that are clearly wrong, and clearly Trump is in the middle of it. Clearly, Trump was Epstein's best friend for 15 years. Clearly, Epstein used to use Mar-a-Lago as a base of operation for many years, and many people know about that. There are so many pictures and details of Trump being involved. So it's the major one. Now, the thing I love about it is it's horrendous. And it's awful to think that Donald Trump was part of this underage sex ring. It's horrendous. It's awful. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't have any more to do with being president, other than character, than Hillary's emails. It really is sort of, it's horrible, terrible, and awful. But it's not like, I designed and fomented a coup, a violent coup, an insurrection, and tried to steal an election. That's sort of more relevant. And so this is sort of interesting because, in a way, the maggots and the people from the right have always used, like, Hillary's emails, Hunter Biden's laptops. It's always been something that was sort of so stupid that fighting against it was like boxing, air. Because it's like, how do you box air? Because at the end of the day, why do Hillary's emails even matter compared to an insurrection, let's say? It's crazy. So I think this is going to, despite the fact that everybody has been obedient and Fox News and everybody else is like shut down within 24 hours, they're not quite. Because I do think
it's like the Russia hoax. And
Yeah.
so that gave them something to hang on to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
sure.
I do think this is different than some of the other things that we talked about because I do talk to a lot of people who disagree with me, and one of the kind of anchors is that they are on religious moral grounds. That is a key anchor to the belief system. And now how you get there when, like, this guy has been accused of this and that, and he has all these history, I don't know, like, that was the greatest con of the century, right? But now to have a situation that they literally, I mean, so many of these people, Dan Margino, Alex Jones, like, they really put their entire brand around this conspiracy, and this as an indicator. This has been used as a driving indicator of the depravity of Dems for a really long time, right? And so I think it's really interesting to see if they're going to really step away. I think this is a major, like, chink in the armor. I know my friends that are evangelical Christians are very uncomfortable. Like, and they've been holding their nose, right, of, like, I don't like everything about him, but I like his policies. Well, they don't like his policies now either. And this is such an insult of their intelligence that I think it's really interesting. I just think it's a little bit different than everything else that we've seen, and I'm curious to see like how it plays out. Like every accusation is a confession, right? You think about, remember the people that went to the pizza shop because they thought pedophiles are in the basement selling like these are true believers. They do believe this stuff. So it's interesting. It's like now that their leader is obviously implicated, their ability to kind of step away from it, I find fascinating. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I agree. I think there is a distinction in that wacko community. There's a difference between the true Trump believers who will do whatever he says, and the ones who, the QAnons, the influencers. See, I don't think that Tucker Carlson's, at the end of the day, I think Bongino, or whatever his name is, I think he's out of there. I think at the end of the day, he looks like he's gonna turn. I'm not so sure about Kash Patel, but I do think that the other guy is gonna turn. But the thing is you're right. This is different because it goes to the core of their belief system, which is there is this conspiracy of something outside of government that's controlling stuff. And so the argument does become, well, Trump is doing the cover up because he's being controlled by something else. Is this something else? The oligarch tech guys could be. They could easily turn on Musk and the tech guys. I mean, they should if they're anti-elitist. Who's more elitist than a billionaire? And so you're right. I see there being some. And look, the Fox News has done this to themselves because there was 24 hours of Fox News looking like it was going to turn, and then all of a sudden, overnight, they were given the orders to not do it. So this is now the Fox Epstein cover-up. That's the name of what this is. This is the Fox Epstein cover-up. And I do believe that the Democrats actually have a little push. I thought Hakeem Jeffries was saying the right stuff. So was Jamie Raskin. I believe that there's some power here to keep us alive in conjunction with the crazy right-wing influencer people. So, well, like you said, Denise, get your popcorn. Let's see if we can keep this going. All right, let's see. Oh, geez, Dr. Francine has been sitting there waiting, and also Dr. James. So let's go to Dr. Francine. It's the doctor hour. So you can't get here unless you have some sort of degree. Dr. Francine?
Yes, I am so confused by how the right is treating all of this, but it's so unimportant. While we are focused on this, and even focused on it in this room where we're smart people who should know better, this is still detaining people without caring whether they're legal or not. They're just like, take them now, find out later.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, yeah.
I can't get too excited about Epstein because, come on, Trump was involved with Epstein.
Sure.
He screwed underage women. You just know he did. But it doesn't matter because he's now our president. And what he did with underage women should have mattered at the polling booth, but it didn't. And therefore, we have him as a president. And what we have to do now is stop him from doing more damage. And, taking away immigrants without knowing. Without due process, I was going to say, without knowing even who they are. Never mind due process. It's like
No, they're just, you've got brown skin, we'll take you, then we'll ask questions later.
Yes, exactly. So if trying to talk about what would bother somebody like me, that bothers somebody like me.
Look, I agree with you, Dr. Franson, but I have to push back just a little bit because I do, like I said before, I think that, what do you call it, that the whole Epstein thing is, you're right, it's not really, it's a distraction, but the power of it is this really bothers Trump. And the fact of the matter is that we also have to do whatever we can, use whatever tools to neutralize him and his power and his reach. And if he gets caught up in this, and this keeps on going, and this drives him crazy, and this starts being a normal element, just like, during the 2016 campaign, there wasn't a day where they didn't talk about Hillary's emails. And there was always that in the background. Well, if this becomes in the background every single day, that this comes up, even if it's irrelevant.
Okay, because they already voted not to release the files,
But that drives they chewing on people crazy. That's the thing that drives them crazy. And that's the thing that you can point to, because they are now doing things that you can actually physically point to and say, hey, look what you did. Remember the transparency. I don't know. I just think, and it's my opinion, that if we can keep this going, I think this will, whether it's a slow burn or
But it's not a solution to people's problems. People with everyday problems do not give a shit.
I know, but the solution to people's problems are to make sure that Donald Trump is ineffective. That is the short-term solution. Because there is no, we can't go one by one and try to attack each of the things that he's doing, because there are 100 of them. So the best we can do is
sitting there.
if we can make him ineffective, and if we can distract him, the destruction of the institutions will at least go at a slower pace, so we can at least buy time into the 2026 election. Because that's all we have.
I'm not sure of that. I think with an insecure person, the more he feels on attack, the more likely he'll be cruel.
Well,
Totally.
but as he becomes more cruel, there's an argument to say that will make him more vulnerable and will accelerate people's anger again, turning them against him.
And he's not a god. He gets his power through his coalition, right? So anything that compromises his coalition and his support is what attacks his power. I think that's kind of how I think about it. Like, I always keep in mind that Capone didn't go to jail for murder or selling. Like, he went to jail for tax evasion. You get him how you get him, right? So whatever tools in the arsenal, I think you.
I love it. That's what I do. I believe that. All right, let's go to Dr.
I accept.
Okay. Wow. No, you know what? We can both have opinions that are different, even though we want the same conclusion. It makes sense. It's a good conversation. I don't think it's one or the other. Dr. James, how are you doing?
I am well. I am about to hit how many steps right now? Let's see. Holy cow. I'm at 8,300 steps, and it's 9:11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so I am doing great.
Then do you like to have a drink and then go to bed?
Exactly. I have some Cheetos. I get in front of the TV. I binge on I Love Lucy episodes.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah, so just a couple of things here. So I do the good news and the bad news. So here's some good news I just read. The number of homeless people in Los Angeles County declined by 4% for the second consecutive year, dropping to 72,308 individuals according to data released by the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. And street homelessness showed steeper declines, with unsheltered populations dropping 9.5% countywide and 7.9% in the city, while the number of makeshift shelters, tents, and vehicles decreased 13.5%.
And they say officials attributed this to progress to aggressive encampment clearing programs like Mayor Karen Bates' Inside Safe initiative and record high permanent housing placements of nearly 28,000 people in 2024. And so this marks the first time since the point in time count began in 2005 that homelessness has declined 2 years in a row, representing a turning point after the crisis peaked at 75,518 people in 2023. Then, despite the progress, LAHSA noted the region still requires more than 485,000. That was 485,000 affordable housing units to meet demand, highlighting the ongoing challenges of addressing the root cause of homelessness. So, this basically suggests that there's been a 17.5% drop in street homelessness since Base or Bass took office.
Can you hear Dr. James talking about the homeless people and how it's down 4%? It's just great news.
He's a doctor.
And he hit 8,300 steps, and he's not even a fucking doctor!
I lived in LA for almost 2 decades of my life. Basically my late adolescence through my young middle age. I was in Los Angeles or Long Beach. I've lived all over LA. And, I've been saddened to see, how things changed after I left in such a short period of time, even though things were already pretty bad in a lot of spaces.
And you're gonna keep voting Democrat, Scott? Please.
Doing parties in downtown LA. I'm very familiar with Skid Row and all the different places, and just sort of what goes on down there. And,
Today he admitted he's not an actual doctor, and that he doesn't even have his degree yet to be a psychologist.
A trend that continues.
Why did you admit that?
Okay, so that was good news.
People were asking him about his career, and he's like pre-licensed, and he can't find a job.
Any student who is repaying their loans and moved over to Biden's Safe Plan, which basically
He says he has terrible anxiety,
capped our payment.
and this app has been great for him.
We're not paying towards our principal, and our interest rate was just snowballing our debt, which that's happening for
It is lunatic.
everybody.
It's a bunch of couch warriors.
Give so that our loans would not snowball, and then we could actually pay them off.
He's got
in
huge
the next period of
educational
time.
loans.
And so right now we're all in this administrative forbearance, which says 0% interest, but you're not making any credit towards your forgiveness right now in terms of the time spent.
This is a man
inside this
who
forbearance.
has a huge amount of student loans, you can tell. Everything is projection, Scott. You just have to listen to what people are saying, and they're literally telling you about themselves every single time.
But we can't go back into repayment.
Everybody's a narcissist. They just talk about themselves.
The federal government, the education department, and complete disarray, and they can't get us into, even though we say there's plans for us, we can't get into them. And so what's happening is we are going to be accruing interest without a means to do anything about it, to earn credit towards forgiveness. And this is a really precarious situation, especially because I just read that, this week or last week, judges decided
He took out student loans and he can't pay them back.
Are now going to be laid off at the Department of Education, and they are basically trying to return all of that sort of administrative duty back to the states. And so
Go in that room and pick a fight. Pick a fight with Ben and say, hey, this room's big. This is the deep state clowns.
That went into debt to become homeless, to be doctors and clinicians and lawyers and fuckers that we go into debt for, expecting that we have means to get our loans paid back. And so we're dying in student loan debt.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. They killed the room. They killed the room while Dr. James was still talking.
And, I just don't think, I'm really feeling sort of dragged down by all of this because because it's affecting me, and so self-interest dictates that I'm going to notice it.
Yeah,
But,
it's
in
affecting
any
me.
case, I just wanted to throw that out there, just in case you.
First of all, I think it's a good point, and we do want to hear it. One of the things that I love about this Clubhouse is because everybody's personal story. With that said, and I have one of my sons still has about $10,000 outstanding that they would have forgiven him because he's now 40 years old, so the debt is like almost 20 years old. So they would be forgiven within the Biden plan. But and he's overseas and he doesn't give a shit. It's like he's like the thing is, hopefully, and I am an optimist about this. I think by the time 2028 happens, that there will be a reversal. And so if we can stick it out for 3 more years, I think that the Democrats will be back in power, and they'll be not only addressing this, but I think they're going to use it as a campaign element. A campaign topic, which I think could be effective for my young people. And it's not just young people. My kid's 40 years old, so it's not like he's a young person. So it's definitely an issue, but I do think that this is not a permanent. A lot of the stuff that he's doing is so outrageous and it's so destructive, but it's not unfixable. I mean, it's like 3 years from now, we can start rebuilding and putting things back the way they should be. So I'm glass half full there.
Okay, Scott.
Anyway,
I'll
let me
talk to
see
you
who's on the stage here. Oh God, goodness, we have Stephanie. Stephanie, how are you? What's up with you?
Hi there. Good to see everybody. Lots of stuff as usual. Just thinking of the Epstein thing. I think Roy is right in the chat that, I think the Epstein thing is a fissure. It's created a fissure that can be exploited, although I think it is a real issue that we need to provide some kind of justice to victims. But I don't think